Hi, I'm Gary and welcome to my Outdoors channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how I finished off this 30 round AR15 magazine speed loader. I got it stained in a dark walnut and then finished it with the spar urethane. Now, this is a speed loader that I got from Pop's Cabinet Shop on Etsy.com. And I'll put a link to his shop down below. Now, this speed loader came as an unfinished wood, as in my previous video on my AR15 modifications and speed loaders that I did a video on previously. And I'll put a link to that one down below also. So I will show you how I finished this off. I took this plain plywood speed loader that I bought from online and coated it with the stain in a dark walnut, since that's a popular gun stock color, and then put that on, and then I wiped it off to get the good tone that I wanted. Then I started coating it with this spar urethane to give it weather protection, and especially if I'm going to be using this out at the range or something like this, it needs to be kind of protected from the weather. Not that I'm going to be subjecting it to the rain or throw it on the ground or into ponds or anything like that. It's just the humidity in the air and so forth, can seep into the wood, so that's what I'm trying to protect it against. So I've given it about 4 coats on this top part here. As you can see, I taped off the parts that I want to protect from getting any finish on it, because those are the parts that need to be able to have some movement to them, especially the slider for loading. And I don't want the magazine to be sticking here unnecessarily. These I'll be coating up with a different kind of finish and then waxing them so things will come in and out and slide easy. Now, part I'm doing yet here is to finish the bottom side of this. I've done around all the edges, so I'm going to do the bottom side here. I've got 1 coat on. I've sanded it down smooth. I'm going to put on a couple more coats, and then I'm going to put on some sticky feet, 6 sticky feet on here to help it stay in position for when I'm working the loader. Okay, I'm going to put on several coats of this and then sand between coats. And one of the things about using whether you're using a spar urethane like this or a polyurethane, they're both a heavy-bodied finish. It's kind of like putting pancake syrup on. So it has a tendency on vertical surfaces to droop and kind of run a little bit, so you want to be aware of that. What I do is I put it on the flat surface, and then I like to go around and clean up any excess that are on the sides, because I've already got the sides done, and I did them in a position to try and minimize the drooping as much as I could. So I will get this. Make sure I got a good clean brush. I clean out my brush here after each time with the mineral spirits, and that works pretty good. Now towards the ends here, I like to brush in kind of like one direction rather than coming this way, because then the edge of the brush can droop off some of the finish there, which will make it droop down the side. I'm going to do that. I like to finish in this direction so it doesn't do that. As like I say, I like to go around the sides, make sure I try and clean up any that may be running off the sides that could cause any drooping. Okay, now that will self-level itself to make it smooth. Then I can sand it and get it even again, then do another coat. Now I have this finish with my final coats of spar urethane on it, and I've got all the sides done to it. Then I went over it one final time with this fine steel wool, 4 knots, very fine sanding process, and did the same with the push block for shoving the rounds into the magazine. Now what I'm going to do is take some of these feet here. These are Everbuilt feet that I got at Home Depot, clear bumpers. This is the bottom side, so I'm going to put 2 at the ends, each end, and then 2 in the center. That'll use all 6 of them. I'll just locate these and press them on here securely and try and do them fairly evenly all the way around. And right about center. So that'll be those feet on there. Give them some time to set up and stick well. And these are soft feet, so that if you're on a hard surface, these will kind of give you a bit of a grip when you're trying to load the magazine. So, now my next step is going to be removing this tape from this part here. I'm going to leave this part protected for a bit. Then I'm going to put finish inside of this part here, but not the polyurethane on it, because I don't want that to make things stick. It's a bit thick too. I'll use a different kind of finish for protecting it. I'm going to do a stain and then a different kind of finish, maybe a varnish or something, or maybe I'll just wax it. So I'm peeling this tape off here. I'm managing to peel this off. I was wondering if it was going to be difficult because of the spar urethane finish on there, and that would be real tough to get the tape off, but it seems to be peeling off really quite easily here. So that'll work pretty well. So I'll finish getting this up. And the next step will be getting to applying the stain to the inside of this part. And after that, a finish. Okay, I was able to get all of this tape out of here very cleanly. Worked out really great. I even got a good clean cut edge along here, because this is where underneath this tape here, that laminate is, that makes that slide really slick and easy. That was a nice feature that he added in this design. So next I'm going to start staining this. Probably use like one of those throwaway sponge brushes to put the stain in here. And after that, I'll see if I'm going to wax it or finish it somehow. So I will stain this using this dark walnut stain. And just stand down here, trying to avoid getting too much up onto the top edge where I've already got a finish at. I just kind of clean stroke along there a bit. Might take a few coats to get everything covered well. This is very absorbent on this part. I found after removing this tape from around this part here, I've got a little bit of a ridge where the spar urethane kind of built up on that edge against the tape. So what I'm doing is going around with my razor knife here, extend it out as much as I can, and I'm just slightly, with a slight angle, going across that to cut that edge up so I can remove that edge. And it's just kind of being very careful of how sharp of an angle you go so that you don't dig in and take off too much. Now you can feel with your finger there if there's any spots that need a little more tweaking. Right in here, it's a little bit high yet on that ridge, so I'll try a little bit more on that. There we go. That's a lot better now. That's pretty much going all the way around this, and then once I take this tape out here, I'll have to do the same thing on these edges too. The stain that I put in here is dried. When you do that, that tends to raise the wood grain whenever you put something wet on it, so it gets to be a bit rough. So I went over it and sanded down a bit and into the various curves and so forth to get it all smoothed down again. Next, I'm going to tape off all of this top surface here that I finished so that just this portion in here is all exposed along with the sides of it. Then I'm going to spray it with this clear aerosol lacquer to seal it up, and then after that dries, put a couple of coats on that. Then I'll probably wax over it to make sure that the magazine, when I put it in, doesn't stick a lot. I want it to be able to slide in and out easily enough, so I'll go on with that. Okay, I've taped around the perimeter of where I want to trim this out. What I'm going to do is take a good sharp X-Acto knife and follow along the lines here in kind of a cutting motion here. Try and get these to trim out exactly as I want them. A little bit of a delicate operation sometimes. Kind of see how I go along and do this and just carefully trim this out to get out the shapes that I want and have it protected that way. Then I'll paper off and tape off the rest of this and spray paint this with that clear lacquer to protect this portion inside here. So I'll go on and get this finished up and get it all wrapped up so I can spray it. Alright, I have this all masked and taped off here, so I can go ahead and put on the spray lacquer on here to protect that. I'm going to turn my camera off while I'm doing that because I don't want any of the overspray to get onto my camera lens. I have finished putting the clear lacquer onto this part here. Then I sanded over it a little bit with some 400 grit sandpaper to get it good and smooth. And then what I'll do further is to wax this portion. What I'm going to do here next is to, you can see I've got this part in here that's not stained yet because I wanted to keep this from getting the finish on there to make it easier for the slide to work. What I'm going to do here is put on a glove. I'm going to take a rag and some of this dark walnut stain, dampen my rag here a little bit, and then I'm going to rub it along the inside of this edge here to apply the stain. I'll get this applied all the way around the inside of this edge. Here I have this all finished up. I've got all the tape removed, things cleaned up. Got the inside tracks here all waxed up and everything. This part here waxed up so this fits in well. And still had to use my spacer here with that cut off piece of that credit card or debit card. Now I'll show you how this puts them all in here and how quick and easy it is to just swipe it in. And we have a loaded magazine. Well, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and you got the inspiration to make something of your own. If you did, please give me a like and share it with your family, friends, and fellow outdoors persons. Also, please subscribe to see what I may come up with next, and be sure to hit that bell icon so you won't miss out on anything. I also greatly appreciate all your comments and ideas. I get a lot of great ideas from all of you. So, if the women don't find you handsome, at least they should find you handy. Thank you.